The bath was not meant to become anything. That was the understanding. Steam curls lazily toward the ceiling, carrying the faint scent of lavender and warmed stone. The water has long since stopped sloshing. The room is quiet now, settled into the soft hush that follows movement. Candlelight flickers against tiled walls, catching on brass fixtures and the edge of porcelain. She rests one hand on the rim of the tub, fingers damp, skin warm from the water. The house is finally quiet, she says, mostly to herself. Yes, the Duke replies. He stands a respectful distance away, near the towel rail, posture composed, gaze averted just enough to signal restraint without absence. His coat is removed, folded neatly over a chair, sleeves rolled back in a way that speaks of practicality rather than intimacy. He's here because she asked him to be. Not for this, but for help. The day had been long, travel delayed by weather, the estate busier than planned, servants pulled in too many directions at once. When she had requested the bath, it was meant as a brief reprieve before supper, nothing more. When she'd realized there would be no one free to assist her after, she'd hesitated. Then she'd asked him. It had been an ordinary request. It no longer feels like one. You can look, she says, her voice steady but quieter than before. I'm finished. He turns then, slowly, deliberately, as if any suddenness would be a breach of something unspoken. I don't need to, he replies. I know, she says. But you can. He meets her gaze, not her body, not yet. His eyes hold a question. Are you certain? He asks. Yes. The answer comes without hesitation, surprising her even as she speaks it. He steps closer, the sound of his boots muted against the stone floor. The heat from the bath still clings to the air between them, wrapping around them both, softening edges. You're unwell, he says, glancing briefly at her face. You shouldn't stand too quickly. I'm not fragile, she replies, though she doesn't move yet. No, he agrees. But you're tired. That lands closer to the truth. She exhales slowly. I don't need you to do more than offer your arm. I won't, he says. The assurance is immediate. He reaches out then, not toward her but toward the towel, lifting it carefully from the rail. He holds it folded, ready, but does not bring it closer. She studies him for a moment, taking in the controlled patience of him, the way he waits without filling the silence. You're very careful, she says. Yes. You weren't always. No. That answer carries history with it, unspoken but present all the same. She shifts in the water, testing her footing. The surface ripples, the faint sound echoing softly in the room. Then don't let me slip, she says. He steps closer at once, stopping just beside the tub. Close enough now that she can feel the warmth of him, distinct from the lingering heat of the bath. I won't, he replies. She places her hand in his. The contact is immediate and grounding. His grip is firm, steady, not pulling, not guiding, simply there to be relied upon. She rises slowly, carefully, water sliding from her skin in quiet rivulets. The moment stretches. He does not look away. He also does not look too closely. His focus remains on her face, on the line of tension at her brow, on the way she measures her movement. When she is fully upright, standing in the tub, she steadies herself with his arm. The bathwater laps gently against porcelain, the steam shifting around them. Careful, he murmurs as she steps over the edge. She nods, placing one foot, then the other onto the mat. The sudden coolness of the air raises a faint shiver along her skin. He notices. You should take the towel, he says, holding it out. She does not take it immediately. Instead, she stands there, one hand still resting lightly against his forearm, breathing steady, the closeness between them newly apparent now that the bath no longer separates them. You're still holding me, she observes. Yes, he replies. You haven't stepped away. The words are neutral. The meaning is not. She takes the towel at last, but instead of wrapping it around herself, she drapes it loosely over her shoulders. It leaves her arms bare, the line of her collarbone exposed, the warmth of her skin meeting the cooler air. He notices again. He does not comment. Thank you, she says softly. For what? For not treating this like something delicate, she replies. He inclines his head slightly. I trust you to tell me if it becomes one. She studies him then, really studies him, how he stands, how he hasn't retreated, how he also hasn't advanced. That's a very narrow line, she says. Yes. And you're standing right on it. Yes. She shifts her weight, the towel slipping slightly at her shoulder. She adjusts it absently, fingers brushing damp fabric, then stills. You can step away now, she says. I can, he agrees. But you won't. No. She meets his gaze fully. Why? He considers her carefully before answering. Because, he says, you're not finished being steady yet. Her breath catches. That's an assumption. It's an observation, he replies. She exhales slowly. You see more than you used to. Yes. And you don't hide it anymore. No. The room feels smaller now, not because of walls but because of attention. She takes a step forward, away from the tub, closer to him. The towel slips another inch, then stalks, caught by the way she holds it. You're very close, she says. Yes. And this was meant to be practical. Yes. And it still is, he replies. Unless you decide otherwise. The choice settles between them, unmistakable. She lowers her gaze briefly, then looks back up at him. I didn't expect this to feel different, she says. Neither did I, he admits. That admission is quiet, but it carries weight. She draws a slow breath, steadying herself. You said you wouldn't do more than offer your arm. I haven't, he says. You're the one who didn't release it. She looks down. Her hand is still resting against his forearm. She doesn't move it. That doesn't make this your doing, she says. No, he agrees. It makes it shared. The word resonates. Shared. She shifts closer again, just enough that the space between them changes, the air warming, the silence thickening. This could become complicated, she says. Yes. And it would be very easy to step back. Yes. She doesn't. Instead, she adjusts the towel again, more securely this time, as if acknowledging the choice rather than undoing it. You're still here, she murmurs. Yes. And you didn't step away after. No. He lifts his hand slowly, not touching her, not yet, but stopping just short, as if testing whether she will move. She doesn't. You can stop me, he says quietly. I won't, she replies. The certainty in her voice surprises them both. He lets his hand settle then, not on her skin, but at the edge of the towel, steadying it where it rests at her shoulder. The contact is light, careful, unmistakably intentional. The gesture changes everything. Her breath comes shallow. That's not helping me dress, she says softly. No, he agrees. It's helping you stay. She closes her eyes briefly, then opens them again. And you're still not stepping away. No. They stand there, the bath forgotten, the room hushed, the moment suspended between what was asked and what has become possible. Outside the chamber, the estate remains quiet. No footsteps approach. No voices intrude. Inside, the candlelight flickers, the steam thins, and she understands with sudden clarity. He helped her out of the bath. And neither of them intends to pretend that was the end of it. The room seems to exhale. Steam thins, candlelight steadies, the water in the tub finally still. The bath, once the center of the moment, has faded into the background, its purpose fulfilled and surpassed. What remains is the quiet between them, thick with awareness. She stands there, wrapped loosely in the towel, his hand resting at its edge on her shoulder. Not gripping, not adjusting, simply holding the line where it meets her skin. Neither of them moves. You're very calm, she says softly. Yes, he replies. So are you. That's debatable. No, he says evenly. You're steady. There's a difference. She considers that, breathing slowly, feeling the warmth of her own skin cool in the air. His presence grounds her more than the towel ever could. You could step back now, she says. Yes. And you won't. No. She looks up at him fully then. The distance between their faces is minimal now, close enough to register the quiet changes in expression, the measured focus in his eyes. You said you were here to help, she says. I am. And this helps. It does, he replies. Just not in the way we expected. That honesty settles something in her chest. She shifts slightly, the towel tightening as she adjusts it more securely. His hand follows the movement instinctively, not to claim but to support, to keep the fabric in place. The contact lingers. You're very aware of where you're touching, she murmurs. Yes. And you're choosing not to move. Yes. She exhales a quiet sound. You always were difficult to read. He inclines his head slightly. You always knew when not to look away. The words land softly, but they carry weight. She lowers her gaze briefly, then lifts it again. This wasn't what I asked for. No, he agrees. But it's what we arrived at. She nods slowly. That makes it harder to ignore. Yes. They stand like that for a long moment, the quiet stretching, not awkward, not strained, simply full. Eventually, she reaches for the robe folded nearby. The movement is deliberate, unhurried. He does not step in to help. He does not step away. She slips her arms into it, tying it closed herself. Only when the fabric is secure does his hand fall away from her shoulder. The absence is noticeable. She feels it immediately. You let go, she says. Yes. And yet nothing feels undone. No, he agrees. Because letting go wasn't retreat. She meets his gaze. You're very careful with distinctions. I find them useful. She ties the belt more securely, then rests her hands at her sides. For the first time since she stood from the bath, there is nothing between them that needs managing. This will change how things are, she says quietly. Yes. And you're prepared for that. Yes. She studies him for a long moment. You didn't overstep. No. And you didn't disappear either. No. That's rare. He allows himself the faintest smile. So are moments that matter. She returns the smile, small but genuine. I should dress, she says. Yes. And you should leave. Yes. Neither of them moves immediately. Finally, she steps past him, crossing the room toward the dressing screen. The space between them feels different now, not tense, not charged, but settled. At the doorway, he pauses. You didn't ask me to stay, he says. No. And you didn't ask me to go sooner. No. She turns to face him. Thank you. For what? For not pretending this was insignificant, she replies. He nods once. I don't pretend with things I intend to remember. That answers more than she asked. He leaves then, quietly, closing the door behind him with care. She stands alone in the bathing chamber, the steam gone now, the candles burning low. The room feels larger, emptier but not hollow. Later, fully dressed, she joins the household again. The evening resumes its rhythm. Conversation flows. The estate settles. And yet, when she sees him across the hall, their eyes meet briefly. No tensión. No dinayin. Just acknowledgement. He does not approach her. He does not avoid her. He simply inclines his head, subtle, respectful, unmistakable. She returns the gesture. Nothing about the moment is spoken of. Nothing needs to be. Because what happened did not require explanation. It began with something practical, passed through something intimate, and it ended with understanding. He helped her out of the bath, and neither of them stepped away until it meant something.